Okay, everyone, I think we'll go ahead and kick off here. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on our live demo of Zencity Essentials in partnership with ICMA and our very valued partners over in Melissa, Texas. We have Bridget and Taylor here with us as well. Essentially, our plan for today is we'll do a round of introductions from the presenters and Zencity and the ICMA side, and then we'll take a deep dive into the platform itself and take a look at some of the ways that we help support local governments in understanding residents' needs and priorities. Joe, if you want to kick us off.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. My name is Joe Superville, Content Marketing Manager for ICMA. And I'm just also glad to be joined by our strategic partners at Zencity and some product users there in Melissa, Texas. So I'll turn it back over to Zencity. Just one quick housekeeping thing. We are recording that will be made available later. Questions at the end, but feel free to put them in the chat kind of as we go, just so you don't forget them. And the Zencity team will kind of either hit a reply in the chat or kind of get to it at the end during the Q&A. For now, keep yourselves on mute. At the end, you can kind of unmute to ask questions, raise the hand, the whole routine. So Noah, go ahead.
Fabulous. Awesome. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Noah Fishman. I've been here with Zencity as a government solutions manager for almost 4 years now. And my role is essentially to help connect cities, counties, townships, villages, the works to basically better understand their residents and hear from their broader community. And I'll pass it off to Ido.
Hi, nice to meet you all. Glad to be here. It's great to be here. I'm Zencity CTO and co-founder. I lead the product team, here to answer any product questions and also be a co-host with Noah.
And then Bridget and Taylor.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
Hi, I'm Bridget Saxon, the communication manager for the city of Melissa, and I'm here to showcase some amazing things that we've been using and utilizing through Zencity.
I'm Taylor Lavelle. I'm the communications specialist here.
Wonderful. Just like I mentioned previously before some of the newcomers joined, essentially our plan for today is to go over the platform and take a deeper dive into what Zencity does and how they support local governments. First off, I just want to say that it's really an honor to be here with all of you in partnership with ICMA as well. We know that local government is really what makes the world go round, and all of you work tirelessly to ensure that our cities and counties and townships and villages run smoothly, and it's really a privilege to work with all of you. So to kind of kick things off here, Zencity we're here to support you in every way possible when it comes to engaging from your community and hearing and measuring public perception to ensure that you're able to build public trust. We live in an era, today where community involvement is really crucial to your success, and Zencity is here to offer a scalable and time-saving solution to help you perform that full cycle of feedback, even with limited resources. Today, you're probably using multiple tools and vendors to manage your city's relationships and communication with residents, and it takes a lot of time and effort. And with Zencity and being able to have that full feedback loop, we are really enabling you to listen to and engage with your community, communicate your plans and projects, and really just confidently report back to your council and residents while being able to make more informed decisions. I think that I'm going to share my screen here really quickly, just to put a little more context to the words themselves. Can everybody see my screen okay? No thumbs up, nodding, perfect.
Yep.
So here at Zencity, we work with over 300 local governments nationwide, and our goal is always to help you improve, services, increase satisfaction, and overall building trust. I think we have a great quote here from our partners in Bettendorf that we've been working with for over 4 years now, and their community engagement manager, Angie, she said, it's so useful for us to be able to see and know where our sentiment is and where we can find out what is really resonating with our residents. I think that, trust in our community is key, and it can often be difficult to understand resident priorities and needs, because we have found that in all the communities that we work with, there's a few similar problems across the board. One is what we call the STPs, the same 10 people, which I'm sure you all know and love and can picture them in the front of your head right now. While we are so, grateful that they're passionate about community engagement, we know that often they don't represent the rest of the community. And we see that traditional methods of hearing from your community don't really land the same way that they used to, especially in this post-COVID world that we're living in now. Council meetings are not as well attended. For example, here, when there's a meeting from Thursday 10 a.m. to 2:30, if you're, a working parent, if you work 2 jobs, maybe if English is not your first language, it's really hard to hear from all the residents and be able to lower the barrier of participation and really hear from people that maybe are talking about you, but not necessarily to you. Like I said, typical engagement methods are really broken in a sense. We have those STPs that we hear from on a daily basis, but to be able to hear from beyond those same 10 people, it requires a lot of time and effort and resources that sometimes we have other priorities and it kind of falls through the cracks. And so that kind of leads to a snowball effect of not being able to really hear from those who maybe need us the most and not being able to get a clear understanding of their needs and concerns and what they need most from the city and its services. And for a lot of our residents, perception is reality, right? So if they get the idea that they're not being heard or listened to, it also snowballs into the lack of trust and really understanding how you can better communicate with them. So we look at that and we say, wow, this is actually a really complex problem that requires a more comprehensive solution, especially for our time. Nowadays, more than ever, people are spending a lot more time on this. Like we see here, most people check their phones 100 times a day. I'm sure some of you have already checked your phones 100 times since this meeting started, but being able to really meet residents where they are is the key to understanding what they need from us the most. We look at hearing from our community in sort of twofold. One is a more passive angle of things. So we look at, the organic conversations that are already happening online, people who are talking about you, but not necessarily to you, and being able to analyze and categorize that sentiment so you can use that data to make more informed decisions. And on the more active side, we have things like a community survey, which allows you to get a representative idea of what people are trying to communicate to you in a more specific and tangible way with specific questions and really understand who you're hearing from the entire community itself. And as well as Zencity Engage, which is sort of what we call our virtual town hall, which is where you house all your projects and initiatives, that are happening in your municipality right now, and having that more structured way of gaining feedback from residents that isn't just them commenting on a Facebook post, but actually allows you to have that open dialogue and back and forth with your residents to encourage a more wholesome conversation. But for the purpose of today's presentation, we'll be focusing more on organic and engage. We've also pinpointed a few things that from the feedback we receive from our partners is that there's really a few key ways here for us to be able to support you. So whether it comes to performance management, really understanding how we're doing over the course of months, weeks, years, things like public safety and trust, messaging, communication, strategic planning, capital projects, and of course, budgeting and resource allocation, so you can understand exactly where you need to put your efforts to. That's really where we are coming from to help you understand that there is, a possibility to put everything you need when it comes to communicating with your residents in one platform and to turn that data that is usually just numbers floating up in the air into really actionable insights and to help you, that way build trust with your community. And on that note, I think we'll transition into the more visual aspect of the presentation today and dive into the platform itself. So what we're looking at here is the organic dashboard. So for example, in the last 30 days, we've collected almost 300,000 interactions. And what we find in, I think, almost most cases with our partners, the feedback is actually overwhelmingly positive, which is very nice because typically you only hear from people when they want to wave their finger in your face about something that they don't like, but it shows that there's actually a lot of positive discourse and appreciation for the work that you're doing, which can be very refreshing. Another thing I want to highlight here is the highlights from your data, and this is just where you can spot trends and anomalies and spikes in conversation. And our goal is to really have green arrows on all these different topics. And since we are local government focused, we're able to really sift through the data and make sure that it's as relevant and structured and helpful for you as possible, and use these more focused areas to be able to say, okay, I actually want to look at what people are saying about Parks and Rec, and then use that to help make more informed decisions when we're looking at our park redevelopment plan and things like that. And at this point, I actually want to take a quick pause and send it over to Bridget and Taylor from Melissa, Texas, if they can share a little bit about how they've used Zencity to kind of collect those insights and make changes in their own city.
Yeah, thank you so much, Noah. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having us. We are a smaller city. We're about almost reaching 30,000 now, I think the last time we checked. And we're a lean organization. We have under 100 employees, so we need all the help we can get. And this was a powerful tool for us. And it came in very, very handy when P&Z had heard and had requested denial for Walmart to move into town. And I guess the night before council, they went, you know what, we have Zencity. Can you pull a report and find out what the discourse is around it? Because everybody hears all the negative, like you were saying, Noah. There's always those finger shakers. And honestly, we tend to hear those, and that's what sticks mostly anyways. That's what we remember. That's what we as communicators think that's our area that we need to discuss anyways, is to address the issues. So we tend to gravitate towards that anyways. But council said, hey, do you think that you could pull some information from that tool? That's kind of their idea of it at the time, because it was still really new to us. It was like that tool, and pull that information and see what the discourse is around the topic of Walmart coming into Melissa. And even though P&Z had voted it to be voted down, we pulled this report, and it thankfully Zencity was willing to get that to us overnight. It was a really quick, hey, can you get this together? It's like last minute. I know, I'm so sorry. But that report itself actually changed the decision of what council had made that day. We approved Walmart to come in, and it was strictly because of the statistics and the discourse that was proven on paper, that the talk was overwhelmingly positive versus the negative.
Wonderful. That's a great example. Thank you for sharing that, Bridget. And so from there, I actually want to segue into a few other ways that we help you discern, misinformation and really understand where the feedback is coming from. When we take a look at something like the news feed, which actually collects hyper-localized and really granular data when it comes to, what's happening in your city, this is a great way to target misinformation, and as well as kind of use this to stay one step ahead and really understand what's coming from, where the data is coming from, and gives you a chance to also stay one step ahead and regain the control of the narrative. If something happens in the news that is not quite, how things happened, and you want to be able to set the record straight and use that, use the opportunity to, have this one source of truth and make sure that everybody in the city understands what's happening in a more, structured way. This is a great way to understand where that's coming from here. Ido, anything to add here?
Yeah, just two things. One is we pride ourselves on being very local government centric, so we are working constantly to make the news relevant to things like your council, your departments, your decision makers, policy makers, and so the news are more relevant than just news coverage platforms like Google News or Meltwater. We do allow you to both add sources or alert us if you want us to cover news sources that we might have missed. And then the second thing is this is both digital news media, but also broadcast media, mostly TV.
Perfect. Excellent. So speaking of, hyper localized data and staying one step ahead, we also have a publishing tool here, which has been one of the biggest time savers for our partners as well. This essentially allows you to post to all your social media sites at once, whether it's, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Nextdoor, LinkedIn, which Nextdoor will touch on in a few minutes, and allow you to really have a social media management tool within the platform itself to eliminate one more tool that you have to have in your tool belt and really consolidate all your efforts and streamline your processes inside of the platform itself. So we also have, everyone's on the AI train. So we have a little bit of a generative AI for you. And this is just a quick example of, hey, we have a new tennis court coming out. I can't be bothered to make a customized post. Let me just type it into auto post generator, and then it types out a nice little post for you that you can, add an image to, post now, schedule it for later. And of course, all the analytics are on the backside for this as well. And I actually want to invite Ido again to share a little bit more about our new partnership with Nextdoor, which has been very, very exciting for us.
Yeah, so our partnership with Nextdoor, if you don't know, Nextdoor has a very, very unique reach. They say that 1 in 3 American households is registered with Nextdoor, and about 40% of Nextdoor users never visit any other social media platform. And so you have a very specific and unique reach. And what you can do only with Zencity is first publish to Nextdoor, as you can publish to LinkedIn, Twitter, X, Facebook, Meta, and all the other and Instagram. But you can also publish and schedule on Nextdoor from Zencity. And you also, if you publish constantly and connect your Nextdoor account, you can also view Nextdoor posts citywide on their organic dashboard. And that's something we are the only partners in America that allow at this time. So pretty powerful partnership there.
Yeah, thank you, Ido. This has been very exciting for us because it allows us to get super hyper localized and very, very specific feedback. For example, if you're working on a park that's in the northeast side of the city, we want to zoom into those neighborhoods there and see exactly how the people who are most affected by it are responding to the changes and the project that's going on itself. So being able to really zoom in on the neighborhoods and hear that specific feedback is super valuable.
Which reminds me that all the posts on Nextdoor, since they belong to a neighborhood, they're local, and you can filter on the organic dashboard on all the specific posts from a specific location. That's really useful for people that are looking into specific feedback around projects or parks or specific events.
Absolutely. Do you want to touch on the inbox as well, Ido? Kind of a little teaser.
Sure. So it's a little bit of a teaser. It's not live yet. You see here beta, it's internal. It's about to launch in the next couple of weeks. We have been hearing from our client base that not only they want to schedule posts ahead of time on social media, they also want to reply to comments and mentions on the official social media accounts. So if the city or county or town is mentioned on social media, in some cases you want to respond as your official jurisdiction account, and you can have all the accounts in one place. And that's coming in a few weeks. I'm really excited. Again, tool for saving time and consolidating all the social media management tools in one place. And mentions are coming now, and in a few months we'll also have DMs as well.
Fabulous. So all of you on this call just got a really exclusive sneak peek to what's coming with Zencity. And so thank you, Ido, for that. The last thing that I want to touch on here is projects. This is essentially a customized dashboard that really helps you get a more granular view of all your different policies, projects, initiatives. For example, with education, we want to be able to look at the data for things that are most relevant to our education project, but we also don't want to have to sift through all the data on the organic dashboard itself. So this allows you to, have a more, basically a deeper dive into this product itself, and things like, the popular words here, are a great way to get a sense of what's kind of top of mind. Our former ICMA president, Lee Feldman, who's a senior advisor of ours, always says that he knows it's a good day when his name isn't mentioned in the popular words. So it's always a good thing to look out for there. And this is also a great way to basically transition from having this granular data and, you know, hearing from the residents and say, okay, listen, we heard from you on this specific topic, like it's affordable housing, it's, you know, budget prioritization, things like that. And then you can take this data and then put it into a certain project on Engage and really put that data to work. So on Engage here, this is what we call our virtual town hall. This is where we house all the projects and initiatives that are happening in the city or town itself. It can be anything from affordable housing to a park master plan to, you know, you're monitoring algae blooms on, you know, really wide variety of projects as we see here. And it's a way to give your residents a more structured way to deliver that feedback and also, you know, have that open collaboration, open discussion, and really hear from them in a more specific way. So take something like an affordable housing project. We have also harnessed the power of AI here to help you make things a lot more simple and streamlined. And we're not looking to reinvent the wheel, right? We're trying to help you do things more efficient and in a more fast-paced way. So something like the affordable housing project was made from one of our templates that gives you a basic outline of what the project would look like based on our experience with our other strategic partners, and basically allows you to create a super customized project to whatever you are trying to work on now. So just to highlight some things here, you are able to, you know, add a little blurb about what the project itself is. It really helps with, you know, humanizing some departments and adding a face to a project and having people really understand who's in charge and who they can communicate with. Add videos, add important, you know, documents and things like that. And this also helps you with, we're talking about, you know, gaining visibility and transparency by including something like a timeline, which allows people to really be a part of the process and not kind of be left in the dark about how these certain projects that are really important to them are coming along. And while we can use it just to, you know, put information out there, we also can use it for things like we want to know, you know, we're opening a new park and we want to see, we want to get feedback from the residents about where they think they should go. And all kinds of engagements in that sense, or understanding what kind of, you know, architectural style you want the new affordable housing building to look like. So just giving them a bunch of options that are, again, were all AI generated, to really have a more, you know, comprehensive view of what they're doing. So whether it's, you know, placing a new park on a map or just having them be a part of, you know, your budget planning process, having them be more aware of what their, you know, where their tax dollars are going, how they want to prioritize, you know, the projects and initiatives they want to see come up, and have them be, you know, part of the process itself. And while some people use it for things like budgeting and affordable housing and, you know, comprehensive plan, strategic planning, I also would love for Bridget and Taylor to share how they've used it in their own special way.
Oh, there we go. Okay, great. So I guess a little background, we conducted a citizen survey back in the fall of last year, where we asked a series of questions for the citizens so we can kind of narrow down kind of the little areas of concerns that they might have. So based on those results, we generated a calendar, and every month we have a specific topic or area of concern that we go over. And we've used the Engage platform to basically house everything that we are doing for that campaign. So the campaign that we've created is called You Are Speaking, We Are Listening, where we take that survey and those areas of concern, and we created a timeline of what we're doing each month, or what we've done, and what is coming up in the near future. One of the topics was water costs and public safety and, you know, traffic and roads. So we use that as a platform to house everything. And then in the timeline, we've actually created action phases, and then we've linked those pages. We've created, you know, back-end pages that then house like videos or more information about those areas of concern. So when we do post to like social media and stuff like that, we're able to direct our citizens to that hub, to that page where they can read more into this citizen survey and into this campaign. So it's a really great resource to have for our citizens, and then for us as well to see, like, you know, our project come to life.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. That's really an exciting project, and I can't wait to see the results at the end of the project itself. One last thing I wanted to touch up on is that in effort also to lower the barrier of participation even more, like we said earlier, everyone is spending time on their smartphones and on their devices. And so another way that we've incorporated, you know, trying to hear from as many voices as possible is that we also translate into 29 different languages. So whatever language their phone or device is set to, when they click on a link or try to engage in one of the surveys or discussion boards, they will automatically, the engagement will automatically translate into the language that their phone is set to. So again, really trying to expand the spectrum of voices and different members of the community that we hear from on a daily basis. So essentially maybe I can unpin you guys here. Essentially to that, what we went over today, our goal is really to show you kind of how our partners use the tools and use that to consolidate their efforts and streamline their processes. And I hope that we were able to achieve that today. I would love to open the floor for some questions. You're welcome to post it in the chat or to just raise your hand and we will call on you accordingly. So if anybody has questions now, now is your time to shine. And I will also post a link in the chat for if anybody wants to, you know, get in contact with us afterwards. We can set up a more comprehensive and customized demo so we can understand exactly what your needs and priorities are and see if there's a need for you to connect from us as well. There's so many different.
I'll
Go
maybe
ahead.
take the question from David. So the data in organic, I assume, is sourced from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit. If you have a CRM, we can connect your CRM and you can get this data as well. And of course, online news. And I'll answer the second question while I'm doing this. Does this encompass social media platforms as well? The answer is yes. Yeah, we do collect information about your jurisdiction from news accounts of news outlets. That makes sense.
There's a question.
I will say though, the data we collect by and large, is mostly is open data that's openly available from accounts that are out there. We don't collect information from individual accounts. They have to, on Twitter, everything is open. Same with Reddit, and with Instagram, we can collect hashtags and specific pages, but not everything. And from Facebook, we do collect pages and groups that are public.
Thank you, Ado. I want to quickly address Christopher's question here, but then Bridget and Taylor, I'd also love for you to have your input on this as well. Christopher's question was, can you discuss what metrics elected leaders really appreciate in their decision-making process? I think that from what we see a lot is that council members are usually in the front line of, you know, especially in council meetings, they get a lot of those STPs and those voices that come, you know, on to repeat meetings and things like that. And I think what they most appreciate about it is that they're able to take one step back and appreciate that, you know, there are people that we hear from on a day-to-day basis, but also there are a lot of other voices that Zencity enables them to hear, and having that bigger picture while obviously incorporating it with people that they hear from on a daily basis. We want to make sure that those voices are balanced and that we get a more representative view of the entire community. So I think that a lot of our elected officials that we work with appreciate that they're able to have, you know, a little more confidence in their decision making because they know they're hearing from not just those same 10 people, but also they are able to hear from people who are talking about them, but not necessarily to them. Bridget and Taylor, I'm curious if that was your similar experience.
Pretty much, yeah. And I do need to mention that as a communicator, we don't have the time to sit and sift through an answer for council when they are reaching out for something from us. We don't have the time to search Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Nextdoor, and pull all that data together for them. And this tool allows us to do that in a really fast manner. And it allows it to completely like umbrella that whole conversation without us having to go gather that by ourselves and screenshot and put it into, however it is that you would gather that data. This does it without us having to go out there and do that. And we've had a significant buy-in from council on this. In fact, they were the ones on board for Zencity. So our transition was really easy from not having it to having it. They wanted this product because it was their way of listening to their community. We're very intentional and strategic in the way that we grow. And I think that was their intention, was to continue that. And this facilitated that.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. That's really helpful. And Chris said, thank you. Perfect. Any other questions before we wrap up here? Obviously, you're always welcome. Let's see here. We have a question from Michael regarding the town hall feature. Has the current user had issues with the sarcastic online attack? Yeah. So that's I don't know if everybody calls it, but I call it troll patrol, where essentially, we have those people who, come in and they, whether they sometimes they act like these online engagements are a little more like Twitter, but essentially we have a moderating feature where if someone says, something that would be considered, against community guidelines, it does get flagged and gives them a chance to try again. And if, we see like 99% of the time, they're able to try again and deliver feedback in a way that is more appropriate. But you're also able on the back end to go in and be able to, choose what you want to have be a part of that discussion there. I hope that answers your question, Michael. We have
Do you want us to take
I
Jonathan?
think we have a question for
Yeah.
Bridget.
be great.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So Jonathan, no, our situation was a little unique. So I am going to preface that. Our mayor has a communicator as a daughter, and she utilized Zencity, and they were kind of a trailblazing city for Zencity. So I think he already knew about it. But to take a step back out of that, if you have a council and a mayor that are willing to sit through a presentation with Zencity, I think immediately they would see the need and see the buy-in for it. I think that would be all it takes. After that, I mean, the options are endless on how you utilize it.
Any other questions before we wrap up here? For all those who weren't able to join or want to look back on it later, we will be sending out the recording, I believe tomorrow as well. Just in case you want to follow up on a few things. But again, we will be more than happy to, offer a more one-on-one and more of a deep dive session if you're interested in looking at the data in a more context of your municipality itself. So if there's no more questions here, last one, here we go. Oh, great. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. Again, thank you to ICMA and to the good people of Melissa, Texas. It's been an honor to talk about Zencity today, and we hope to see you all very soon, and have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Thank you so much.